Hi there, let's take a look at structure, meter and dramatic irony in Macbeth. Starting with structure. The play is in 5 acts. This would fit with Freytag's dramatic structure. He was a 19th century writer, Freytag's tragic dramatic structure. He was a 19th century writer who identified different stages in the play. Firstly, Act 1, exposition. The setting, events and characters are introduced. We meet Lady Macbeth, Banquo, King Duncan and the witches. We're told that Macbeth is a brave warrior. We're shown that he trusts his wife and tells her everything. We're shown that he has a close friendship with Banquo and that he is loyal to the king. We also meet the witches and hear them make predictions which will alter the future of all of our characters. Act 2, rising action. Events that lead up to the main part of the play, which link together and cause more and more dramatic tension. We're shown how Macbeth seems to be unable to make firm decisions and how controlling and manipulative Lady Macbeth is. We're shown Macbeth is also manipulated by the witches and their promise of his future power. King Duncan is murdered. This changes Macbeth and Lady Macbeth and also starts a chain of events which lead up to Macbeth's own death. Act 3, climax. This is the turning point in the play, where the main character's life changes for the worse and things start to go wrong. Macbeth becomes King of Scotland but is plagued with uncertainty and worries about losing his crown to other people. Macbeth murders Banquo and tries to murder Fleance, which is Banquo's son. Macbeth sees Banquo's ghost and starts arguing with it, showing that to everyone that he's become mentally unstable. People start to see Macbeth as a tyrant and doubt his abilities. Macduff goes to England to find Malcolm. Act 4, main conflict falling action. The main conflict between the two main characters is determined and the setting for the final stage is set. Macbeth goes back to the witches and asks them to tell him the rest of his fate. He learns that he must beware of Macduff, but that none of woman born shall harm Macbeth. Macbeth murders Macduff's family. Macduff hears of his family's murder and now wants revenge against Macbeth. He has essentially sealed his fate by murdering Macduff's family. With Macduff's help, Malcolm plans to invade Scotland and defeat Macbeth. And Act 5, downfall. The main character is defeated and life returns to normal. Lady Macbeth commits suicide. Malcolm and Macduff invade Scotland and attack Macbeth. Macduff, who was not born but was removed by caesarean, kills Macbeth. Malcolm ascends the throne, continuing with the royal line from his father, King Duncan. Cyclical structure. Interestingly, the play structure is almost cyclical, which is a circle. It begins with Macbeth killing a traitor and ends with him being killed for being a traitor. Macbeth becomes the very enemy he was previously working to defeat. So what are the different parts of Freytag's tragic dramatic structure? It's Act 1, exposition. Act 2, rising action. Act 3, climax. Act 4, main conflict, falling action. Act 5, downfall. Let's quickly recap the structure of the play being cyclical. It begins with Macbeth killing a traitor and ends with him being killed for being a traitor. He becomes the very enemy he was previously working to defeat. Now let's have a look at iambic pentameter in prose. Shakespeare writes most of the play in iambic pentameter. This is a 5-beat rhythm and is a poetic structure. Iambic pentameter is a line which contains 10 syllables in pairs, an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed one, with the pattern repeated 5 times in the line. For example, and wash this filthy witness from your hand. Lady Macbeth says this. Prose is when people speak normally, without rhyme or meter. Tetrameter tetrameter is a line which contains 4 sets of a stressed syllable followed by an unstressed syllable. Double, double, toil and trouble. Pattern breakers. Sometimes Shakespeare breaks this pattern by having a character only speak half a line, while moving away from poetry altogether and speaking in prose. For example, when Lady Macbeth speaks Sleepwalk, she speaks in prose, which might signify her control breaking down. Trochaic tetrameter. The witches sometimes speak in trochaic tetrameter. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Shakespeare usually writes in iambic pentameter, so this shows the witches is odd. These lines show that the witches' speeches are full of double meanings. They're not what they appear and cannot be trusted. This structure shows that the witches speak in a different way to everyone else, and they are doing something incredible. This moment is almost a threat to Macbeth. They are chanting and aiming their spell at him, and it's a powerful spell. Let's quickly recap looking at iambic pentameter. Shakespeare writes most of the play in iambic pentameter, and sometimes breaks this pattern by having a character only speak half a line, or by moving away from poetry altogether and speaking in prose. For example, when Lady Macbeth sleepwalks, she speaks in prose, which might signify her control breaking down. What meter is Shakespeare using when the witches say, double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble? The correct answer is trochaic Tetrameter. Now let's take a look at dramatic irony. Dramatic irony is when the audience knows something that the characters on stage don't. We learn Lady Macbeth and Macbeth's plans throughout their asides and soliloquies. Anytime a character speaks a soliloquy or talks aside, it really means they're talking to the audience and telling them what they're thinking. This lets the audience understand what is motivating them, making them behave as they are. It also means that they will know the intentions of the character before the other characters do, which is dramatic irony. Duncan's murder. They know that Macbeth thinks about killing the king in an aside. Why do I yield to that suggestion, whose horrid image doth unfix my hair, and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature, in Act 1, Scene 3. This suggests that he is almost immediately thinking about taking the crown by murdering King Duncan, but he seems scared of the idea. His heart knocks at his ribs and his hair stands up. The dramatic irony here also adds to the tragedy of the situation, as the audience sees a king who trusts his loyal subjects, not realising that Macbeth and Lady Macbeth plan to murder him in his sleep. Lady Macbeth's plan. Lady Macbeth plots to persuade Macbeth to kill King Duncan. She says her dramatic monologue at the start of Act 1, Scene 5, when she is on stage alone. She tells what she thinks about Macbeth's letter and what she plans to do about it. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, and chastise thee with the valour of my tongue. She plans to persuade Macbeth with her speech. She thinks her speech is her strength. We can tell this because she says the valour of my tongue. Her words are brave and capable. The audience knows what she is planning before she meets with Macbeth. Macbeth's dilemma. Macbeth's soliloquy at the start of Act 1, Scene 7 tells the audience all his reasons for not killing the king. This shows the audience just how powerful and persuasive Lady Macbeth is when she manipulates, meaning controls him to do what she wants, Macbeth to continue with the original plan. Banquo's murder. Unusually, the audience doesn't know when Macbeth plans to kill Banquo. This is hidden until the murderers arrive on stage. This is significant because it changes how the play has happened up to this point. The audience knows about the plots and knows that Lady Macbeth has been driving them. Here she doesn't know what Macbeth is planning. Be innocent of the knowledge, dearest Chuck. This is in Act 3, Scene 2. This shows that his character has changed. He is plotting murders by himself, and the audience will no longer have the same insight into how Macbeth's mind works. Understanding. This means that more surprises could be in store. What do we learn when Macbeth speaks in soliloquies and aside? We learn all his reasons for not wanting to murder Duncan, and that he plans to murder Duncan. What is dramatic irony? When the audience knows something that the characters on stage don't. What are the literary techniques being used is trochaic tetrameter, which is a line which contains 4 sets of a stressed syllable followed by an unstressed syllable, double, double, toil and trouble. Am Pentameter, a line which contains 10 syllables in pairs, an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed one, with the pattern repeated 5 times in a line. For example, and wash this filthy witness from your hand. Lady Macbeth. Prose. When people speak normally without rhyme or meter. Which of these are true of Freytag? Did he co-write Macbeth, or did he identify stages in a play and come up with a structure? The answer is obviously that he did not co-write Macbeth. He identified different stages in the play and came up with a structure. Is he an 18th or a 19th century writer? Correct answer is he's a 19th century writer. Let's finally just recap about Macbeth's plans to kill Banquo. That unusually we don't know when he plans to kill Banquo, which is significant. It changes how the play has been happening up to this point. Previously, the audience knew about the plots and Lady Macbeth has been driving them. Here, Lady Macbeth doesn't know what Macbeth is planning. He says, be innocent of this knowledge, dearest Chuck, in Act 3, Scene 2. This shows his character has changed. He's plotting the murders by himself, and the audience will no longer have the same insight into how Macbeth's mind works. This means more surprises could be in store.